You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Welcome to the Cinema Gold Show. As always, I'm your host, Larry Lace. On today's episode of Central City Rewatch, we dive into The Flash, Episode 4, titled Going Rogue. Before we do that, give me your thoughts on this episode in the comments section below. Is there anything I missed, should have covered? Let me know. And of course, with that, let's dive right in, shall we? The Flash's Season 1, Episode 4, titled Going Rogue, marks a turning point in the early trajectory of the series. It introduces Leonard Snart, Captain Cold, a villain whose moral rigidity, precision, and charisma set him apart from earlier foes. This episode also explores Barry Allen's developing superhero identity, his limits, and the responsibilities that come with power. In this episode, I'll take a look at the episode's narrative structure, character development, themes, visual style, and emotional impact, and assess its strengths and weaknesses in the context of the series so far. So with episode 4, it opens at Star Labs with Barry Allen undergoing mental and physical training. He simultaneously plays Operation with Caitlin Snow, ping pong with Cisco Ramon, and chess with Dr. Wells. The scene establishes the team's dynamics and Wells' interest in pushing Barry not merely to run faster, but to think faster. An alert interrupts the test. An armored truck transporting a priceless diamond is being robbed. Barry rushes to the scene, but when armed guards are injured, he abandons pursuit of the robbers to save a guard's life. The robbers escape in part due to timing and precision. Barry later identifies one of the robbers from a police mugshot book, Leonard Snart. He is already establishing a reputation for his careful planning and ruthlessness. Meanwhile, Snart's criminal crew has acquired a specialized device, the cold gun, capable of neutralizing Barry, or at least threatening him in ways most previous adversaries had not. Parallel to the action, the episode explores Barry's personal connections. Iris West deals with tension with her father, Joe West, over her relationship with Eddie. Felicity Smoke from Arrow makes a crossover. She arrives to check in on Barry and to observe his abilities, which introduces a new interpersonal dimension. Cisco built the cold gun, or at least modified, proxied it, without full disclosure, which causes tension among the Star Labs team. Barry contends with guilt he was unable to save every life, highlighting the limits even for someone as fast as him. The climax features a confrontation between Barry and Captain Cold. Barry is at a disadvantage, particularly because Snart uses the cold gun, which can severely hurt or even kill him. Through a combination of strategic backup from Cisco, Caitlin, Felicity, and bluffing, Barry manages to avert complete disaster. Snart, however, escapes, leaving a lasting threat. Perhaps the most important growth for Barry in this episode is his confrontation with failure. Previous episodes depict him learning to use his speed, exploring his powers with excitement, forging relationships, and seeking justice. Going rogue forces him to face the fact that with power comes limits, and sometimes you cannot save everybody. Saving the guard rather than pursuing Snart's crew is narratively one of his first real tests. The episode handles Barry's internal guilt effectively. He is remorseful, haunted by what he couldn't do. This adds depth, preventing him from seeming infallible. Moreover, the episode underscores Barry's reliance on trust. He needs the team, Cisco and Caitlin, around him, people who believe in doing good even when it costs something. The fact that they intervene at critical moments shows that Barry is not simply a one-man hero, but one who depends on collaboration and moral support. These early relational dynamics are crucial for the rest of the series. Leonard Snart is introduced with complexity. He is neither purely evil nor purely charming. He has a code. He is meticulous, values order, and is deeply aware of his own limitations and strengths. His methods contrast with earlier villains like the Mist or Multiplex, who largely acted on raw power or revenge. Snart's introduction diversifies the rogues gallery and presents a villain worthy of Barry's attention, precisely because he forces Barry to stretch beyond speed into strategy. Wentworth Miller's performance as Snart is compelling. There is menace, dry humor, and a kind of arrogant confidence. The moment when Snart remarks on how Barry's interference spoiled his plan, or when he expresses annoyance that his own men shot at guards, demonstrates Snart's unique personality. He isn't chaotic evil. He expects a level of professionalism, even among criminals. This makes him more intriguing. Cisco Ramon's arc in this episode reveals both ingenuity and air. His creation or modification, depending on description, of the cold gun shows he is capable of strong innovation, but also that his secrecy undermines trust. Barry's disappointment is not simply about the danger posed, but about being kept in the dark. This tension is realistic in team dynamics and contributes to character growth. Iris, Joe, and Eddie provide the human side of the narrative. Iris's relationship with her father, Joe's reactions to secrets and changing dynamics, and Eddie as a romantic interest add texture. They remind us that Barry's hero life is intertwined with ordinary human relationships, with the complications thereof. The crossover with Felicity adds some fun, but also a contrast. Someone from outside Barry's immediate circle brought in to observe, which helps highlight how extraordinary Barry's world is now. Going Rogue explores several themes that set the tone for The Flash as more than just action spectacle. The classic idea that extraordinary power carries extraordinary responsibility is central here. Barry's hesitation to abandon injury victims in favor of chasing villains, his guilt, and the moral cost of action over inaction are highlighted strongly. The episode suggests that speed alone is not enough. Judgment matters. Failure matters. It is Barry's ethics, not just his velocity, that define his heroism. Secrets among the core group cause tension. Cisco's invention of the cold gun, without telling Barry and others, strains interpersonal trust. The question raised is, do ends justify means? Are tools that might be dangerous if misused acceptable if intended for protection? The show begins early to question how transparency works in a team where stakes are life and death. Barry experiences moral failure, being unable to save everyone. This is character building. Rather than being discouraged or turning bitter, Barry learns something about limitations. This is essential for making him more than a speed-powered do-gooder. It roots him in human vulnerability. The guilt, grief, and reflection that follows are realistic emotional consequences of superhero activity. Snart's characters suggest that villainy can be disciplined, that criminals in this world can be strategic and philosophical about what they do. Barry's previous villains were powerful or monstrous. Snart is a thinker. He elevates the conflict from raw spectacle towards something more cerebral. This hints at a rogues gallery that will challenge Barry's mind and morals as much as his speed. The direction and writing combine to produce an episode that balances action, character work, and humor. Scenes are paced so that quiet internal moments, Barry's guilt, team dynamics, alternate with chase and confrontation sequences. The juxtaposition prevents fatigued action and lends weight to the quieter moments. Visually, the episode uses CGI to depict speed effects, energy, and the weird physics of Barry moving through the world slow in some elements, fast in others. While not flawless, the visual effects are generally effective, reflective of a television budget, but ambitious. The shot where Barry is moving and everything slows or pauses is one of the most successful use of that technique. Special mention to the cold gun effects, the way Captain Cold's weapon is shown, the contrast with Barry's speed, the way the environment reacts, icy burst, freezing, contribute to tension. These are more dramatic than earlier villain tools. Because going rogue allows Barry to fail, to be human, and to face consequences, the episode resonates on an emotional level more than earlier ones did. The scenes between Barry and his team, after incidents of failure, his internal grappling with guilt, and the reactions of those around him, bring weight. Felicity's cameo adds a lighter note, though its emotional resonance is mixed. For fans, it is gratifying, but narratively, it does little more than highlight Barry's changed world. The father-daughter tension between Joe and Iris is more substantial. It shows that personal stakes are always present, even, or especially, when superpowers are involved. So now, some strengths and weaknesses. For right off the bat, we're going into strengths. Number 1, the villain introduction. Captain Cold is a strong addition. He's a memorable, distinct, and his personality gives the episode weight. Then you have moral complexity. Barry's decisions are not simply about stopping bad guys. They involve choices, trade-offs, guilt, and that adds maturity. Then you have a strong team dynamics. The show leans more into the relational side, trust, sacrifice, secrecy. These scenes reinforce that Barry is not alone, but the team is imperfect. And then you have the strong visual and action set pieces. The confrontation with Snart, the effects of the cold gun, the CGI moments are generally effective. They deliver spectacle. And of course, probably the strongest of the episode is the emotional stakes. Because Barry fails at least partly, there is emotional cost, which means audience investment increases. But with strengths come some weaknesses. Right off the bat, you got cliches and predictability. Some elements follow expected genre beats, the wise mentor, the strict villain code, the gadget that can harm the hero. For some viewers, this may feel formulaic. Then you have CGI limitations. While impressive for television, some effects are less convincing in close-ups. The cold gun environmental effects sometimes strain believability. And then you got some weak pacing moments. Certain transitions occasionally feel abrupt. Between Barry saving someone and chasing villainous plot threads, then emotional scenes, they occasionally feel abrupt or tonally shifted quickly, which may undercut immersion. And then underdevelopment of some side plot threads. The Felicity crossover, while enjoyable, is relatively light. Iris, Joe, and Eddie's relationships are touched upon, but could benefit from tighter integration. Going Rogue serves as more than a Villain of the Week episode. It signals that the Flash is ready to evolve. The show is establishing longer arcs, deeper moral puzzles, and a rogues gallery of villains who demand strategy and introspection. Barry's journey is no longer only about mastering his speed. It's about moral agency. It also shows how supporting cast and interpersonal relationships will matter. The cracks in trust between Cisco and Barry foreshadow future tensions. Family tensions remind us that heroism is not isolated from human context. Finally, the episode demonstrates that the Flash wants stakes. Killing is possible, failure is meaningful. Snart's escape means consequences persist. That elevates the stakes for following episodes. Compared to earlier episodes, 1 through 3, Going Rogue is more ambitious thematically. Earlier episodes emphasized origin, wonder, powers, and Barry's adjustment to being the Flash. While there was no action and personal stakes, they were somewhat lighter, more episodic. Episode 4 pushes more permanent change. Barry cannot simply be reactive, nor can villains simply be masked thugs. Also, whereas some earlier villains were motivated by revenge or instinct, Snart is methodical. The introduction of a tool built by Cisco that can harm Barry blurs the line between hero support and unintended threat. This dynamic is more complex than many standard Flash of the Week threats. In television superhero genre context, Going Rogue resembles strong villain introduction episodes in other series, the kind that re-energize interest by giving the hero a foe with comparable skill set or strategy. In that sense, Snart is similar to rogues like Joker to Batman or Lex Luthor to Superman, someone who challenges more than just physical ability. Going Rogue is one of the stronger episodes in Season 1. It succeeds in expanding the narrative scope of The Flash, introducing a villain who is more than a speed bump, exploring Barry's ethical dimensions, and giving weight to the supporting cast and interpersonal relationships. The visual action is compelling, and the episode's dramatic arcs resonate more deeply than many of its predecessors. Where it is less successful is in polishing some weaker CGI moments, smoothing tonal shifts, and integrating all side plots as tightly as possible. But those are relatively small complaints in an episode that largely delivers what fans of the superhero genre seek: exciting action, moral stakes, emotional impact, and character growth. From Going Rogue, one can anticipate several directions the series may take. 1. More ethically shaded challenges. Barry will face more situations where there is no perfect solution and where trade-offs are required. 2. Growing Rogue's gallery with intellectual and moral adversaries. Captain Cold sets a high bar. Future villains may be expected to challenge Barry in kind, not merely by raw power. 3. Internal team conflict. Trust, secrecy, betrayal, remorse, they will likely recur, especially between Barry, Cisco, Wells, and Caitlin. 4. Personal stakes and relationships matter. Family, romance, friendships will complicate superpowered narratives. Barry's personal life will not be sidelined. Finally, consequences and continuity. Snart's escape, Barry's guilt, the cold guns threat. These are narrative seeds that suggest serialized consequences, not purely episodic resets. Excuse me. The Flash Season 1, Episode 4, Going Rogue, succeeds in delivering an episode that is thrilling, morally complex, and emotionally resonant. By introducing a strong villain in Captain Cold, exploring Barry's vulnerabilities, and balancing action with character development, it raises the stakes of the series and suggests a maturation of its themes. While not without minor flaws, some inconsistent CGI, underdeveloped subplots, predictable tropes, the episode's strengths greatly outweigh its weaknesses. For viewers invested in superhero storytelling with heart, Going Rogue is a compelling exemplar of what The Flash can be at its best. And with that, give me your thoughts and give me a thumbs up by hitting that like button. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. As always, your support helps the channel grow, upgrade our equipment, bring in new hosts, be able to pay them, and of course, take this show on the road. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.